Hello and welcome back to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella and I come to you from Los Angeles, California. And this is my little place on the interwebs where I like to share with you what I've been making, and that is usually always knitting related. Today is all going to be about knitting. So I have a very exciting episode today, I hope. I have started on the Stephen West MKAL Shawlography 2021. We got Clue 1 this week, and it's awesome. So we're going to talk about that. I also have a half-finished object to share with you. Also an update on my Boleyn cardigan and some fun acquisitions that I got this week. So a lot to go over today. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's get started. So you can also find me on Instagram or Ravelry as 100 Acre Wool. And on Instagram, I like to post more updates to my projects and things that I'm working on. And on Ravelry is where all of the details of all of my works in progress, past works in progress, all of those details are on Ravelry. We also have a group for this channel, which I always forget to talk about, but we do have a 100 Acre Wool group if you would like to join that group. We also have a knit along going right now on there as well, so you can check that out if you're curious. And links to everything that I'm going to talk about today, yarn, patterns, whatever it is, all of those links and details are going to be in the description bar below this video, so check those out. Also, if you would like to skip ahead, because there will be a part where you may need to or want to skip ahead, if you would like to skip ahead, there's also timestamps down below, so you can skip to whatever section you would like to listen to. Alrighty, and with that all said, let's get into the knitting. So, first off, I will share with you my half-finished object. So this is a project that I've been working on for a little while now. I cast it on a while ago, but it kind of went by the wayside for a while. I haven't been working on it until this past week that I finished one of my socks. Oh. I wonder if you can actually see the detail of this right now. I'll probably also put a picture right here so you can see all the details of the sock because there are quite a few details in this. So these are called the Lotte socks by Emily Ricard. I found them in the 52 Weeks of Socks book by Lina, and I just saw them in that book. So beautiful, thought they were so beautiful, so definitely wanted to make them for myself. I also had this skein of fingering weight yarn that I just had a single skein, was the only skein of this particular colorway, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to make, so when I found this pattern it was just a perfect match, so thought I would cast it on. So yeah, I cast this on a little while ago. I started working on it actually 2 at a time, so it's top down. The construction of this is worked top down, so you start at the kind of cuff here. They're quite tall socks, so it ends up being like on your calf is where it actually hits. But you cast on here and then you work down. So I had started these off as 2 at a time socks, doing magic loop on my knitting needles. And I was liking how that was going. It was my first time doing that. I had never done 2 at a time magic loop socks before this pattern. Just wanted to try it out and see if I could do it. And it was actually fine for this cuff portion, but then once I started getting down into the heel flap and, you know, doing all the heel turn stuff and all these decreases and such, it got too complicated for me. I didn't want to try to figure out how to do it all 2 at a time, so I ended up just taking one sock and working on this one, and then I still have the other one that I will need to finish at a later date. But yeah, so this one is finished, and I'm really happy with how it came out. There's this beautiful little detail here that runs down the entire length of the sock. It has some lace detailing, and it actually has a really tiny cable on either side of the lace detailing. I just thought it was such a delicate and beautiful little feature of the socks. They're kind of mostly vanilla socks except for that one little feature, so I thought it was a nice little touch. So the pattern originally has some striping here at the top. You're supposed to do a couple rows of some different colors in kind of a striping pattern. And I really liked the look of that. I thought it was kind of maybe preppy in a way, or really classic kind of a look. But I tried doing it. I had some different yarn than this, which I'll talk about what this yarn is in a second. But I had some different yarn, like a different yarn base than what this is. Still fingering weight, so I thought it would work, but I think it was actually Shetland wool that I was trying. Anyways, I tried doing the striping at the top, and I just didn't like how it turned out. And also, this yarn is very variegated. You can probably tell. There's a lot of speckles throughout it, and it just it didn't work for me, in my opinion. So I just pulled that out, and so they're just straight one color socks. So this yarn is a yarn by Boleyn Yarns, hand dyer. Boleyn Yarns, if you don't know her, Kristen Lair, she has a podcast here on YouTube as well. Go check her out. She has such a great style, and her hand-dyed yarns are just beautiful. So I highly recommend checking her out. But yeah, so this is one of her bases. I think it's the Footsie base is what it's called. I'm forgetting the full makeup of this, but I believe it's blue-faced luster and nylon, I think is the makeup of this yarn. But it's a really great fingering weight, great for socks. That's why she calls it her Footsie base. She designed it to be for like a sock yarn. And this colorway is her solstice color, which I just thought was so beautiful. When I saw it on her website, I was like, oh, I gotta pick that up. It's so beautiful. So it's this nice neutral gray color, but it's got tiny speckles all throughout. Here's the back side. It's got tiny little speckles. And I'm really happy with this base as well. I think it's gonna stand up well to the test of time of wearing the socks. It seems like it's gonna be a really sturdy yarn. So yeah, I'm excited about these. I am probably not going to be too careful with these, or I'm not gonna baby them, is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna wear them like socks. Like you normally would. I'll wear them around the house, but then I'll probably also wear them out too. So yeah, really happy with how this one came out. And the next one I have here, I just have it on some scrap yarn right now. I gotta put it on the actual needles again. Oh my gosh, and I have to tell you, I was actually kind of scared I was gonna run out of yarn with this. So I had split my skein of yarn. It was a 100-gram skein of yarn. I had split it in two because I knew I wanted to use up pretty much all of it to make these socks. So I split it exactly in half and wound two different balls, one for each sock. And these socks are pretty tall. They go well into the calf. They're not like, you know, normal kind of ankle length socks. So I was kind of concerned that I was going to run out of yarn. And they're also top down. So if I was going to run out of yarn, it would be like towards the toe, and then I couldn't actually finish the socks. But luckily that didn't happen. It was definitely enough yarn. It was just barely enough yarn, but it was enough yarn to finish a whole sock. So I'm thinking, since I split this skein like exactly in half, like yardage wise, then I think I'll have enough for this second sock as well. I'm hoping. I'm crossing my fingers. And if you want to kind of replicate this, I just followed the pattern. So you know exactly the length that the pattern said of how tall to make this. The size I made is the smaller size. I think there's two sizes in there. So if you make the smaller size with 100 grams of yarn, then you should be good. So yeah, I'm really glad that that worked out. So now I think we'll get into the Stephen West MKAL. So if you are joining this MKAL, or if you don't want spoilers, I would recommend skipping to the next project. Don't go away, just skip to the next project, because I am going to be showing you my progress, so it's going to spoil the pattern if you don't want to see what it is yet, or you know, whatever it may be. So I'll give you a little bit of a backstory if you are not aware of the Stephen West MKAL. Stephen West is the designer behind Westknits, and every year he hosts a mystery knit-along. So MKAL is mystery knit-along, and this year he is doing a shawl called Shawlography, and I am joining that MKAL. I am so excited about it. This is my first ever MKAL ever joining by any designer. So basically how it works is that at the start of the MKAL, you don't know what the pattern is going to look like. You don't know what the shawl is going to look like by the end. And every single week for a month, Stephen West is going to be sending out what he calls clues. So it's basically a portion of the pattern that he sends to you every week, and you can kind of knit along with other knitters all around the world, and he gives you like a little piece of the pattern at a time. So like clue 1 is the beginning, and then clue 2 you keep making it bigger and bigger, and then by week 4 you have a finished shawl. So it's very, very exciting, and I'm having so much fun with it already. So clue 1 came out a few days ago, and I was very excited to cast on. I just cast on right away. So spoiler alert, I'm going to show you what it's looking like. And da-da-da! Here's how mine is looking like so far. So this is almost all of clue 1. I have almost finished my week's worth of knitting on this shawl. So it's been really, really fun so far. There's so many super cool techniques in this that I've never done before, never even seen before. And it's really ingenious how he designed this, I think, because it's really not a complicated stitch pattern, and if you know how to knit and purl, I definitely think that you can tackle this pattern. So I'll tell you a little bit about these sections. He breaks it up into, I think, 4 sections. So you start at the top middle here, this kind of gold section here. This part is called section 1. So it's I think it's called a garter tab cast on. You just start with a few tiny little stitches, and then you do a few rows there. So that part went really fast. And then this whole section of the kind of stripy looking bits, this is not brioche. I know it may look like brioche from afar maybe. It's definitely not brioche. It's really, really cool how he has you do it. You're kind of going back and forth this way all the way down. So that was really fun to knit. It's just kind of reverse stockinette and stockinette stitch in different colors. So I think it gives a really, really cool effect there. And then the third section, which is what I'm on now, is what's lower down here. You can see all these really cool kind of V's of that pink color. I just think this is such a cool pattern. It's just slip stitches. Like, it's really, really simple how he does it, but it gives such a cool effect when you put it all together and you put all these beautiful patterns together, and it just creates such a cool look. So that's just such a cool design. I think he also uses this little section here, this kind of pattern design. I think he's also doing that in another one of his shawl patterns. Forgetting the name right now. I'll probably put it here, but. And then section 4 is what I still need to do. It's going to be in this kind of gray color again, and it's a bunch of I-cord loops, which it totally looks really, really cool. And I was looking on Instagram at some other knitters' progress on this already, on their Clue 1. Some knitters that have already finished the entire thing of Clue 1. And it's just looking so cool. It's such an interesting design, and how all of these sections are paired together. And on some other knitters' versions with their color choices, it really reminds me of like jewelry in a way. I don't really know how to explain it. Maybe the details or the striping, and I don't really know how to explain it, but it looks very, like, it glows in a way. Does that make sense? I don't know, but I think it's a beautiful design, and I'm really liking how it's coming out so far. And the yarn that I'm using for this has just been a joy to work with. I really, really love this base and this yarn. I think it's a great yarn for a shawl especially. So this yarn is an Acre base. It was a Stephen West knit kit. It was a Stephen West kit for this make-along. So a couple of weeks ago, Stephen and Penelope, which is Stephen West's yarn shop, they had posted some kits for this make-along. And these colors were part of one of the kits, which I saw and I fell in love with. I was like, yes, those are my colors. Absolutely doing those. So yeah, saw the kit. It's an Acre base, alpaca 2. So it's 50% alpaca and 50% wool is the makeup of this yarn. And I think alpaca is just generally good for shawls. It's very like drapey and soft, and you just want to like cozy up and curl with it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but for me specifically, I really like alpaca for shawls. So I think this is a really great base, a great mixture of the bounciness and structure of wool and the softness and drapiness of alpaca. So having a great time with this yarn. So it's 5 colors is all you need for the pattern if you're planning on casting on anytime soon. It's 5 different colors. And Stephen does say, though, that you can kind of have, it's so fun, he calls them background dancers, since this shawl is called Shawlography, which is kind of based on choreography. He says that you can have background dancers, background colors that you throw in every once in a while, maybe, if you're feeling like it, which I think I'm going to take him up on that little suggestion. I'll talk about that in a second. But it is 5 main colors that he uses in the pattern, that the pattern is written with 5 colors. So the first color is my main color. If you're knitting this, then I'll tell you the letters that I'm using, just in case you're curious. So my color A is this gold color. Beautiful gold color. I'm really loving this kind of mustardy gold recently. So beautiful. And my color B is the light gray here. So that's kind of my frame for all of the wedges here. And color C, color C is this light pink, which is the little V's here at the bottom, those slip stitches. So, so cool. It's a light pink there. And then color D is the purple, kind of an eggplanty purple. Really like that color. And then color E is a darker gray here. So we're really seeing a lot of color B right now, a lot of this gray up here. But Stephen does say that the colors will dance throughout the shawl and you'll see them come up. You know, certain colors will shine in different parts of the shawl. So this is kind of color B's section, if you want to call it. And then I think further on he'll have the main sort of colors be different colors. So they all get a time to shine, if that makes sense. Such a cool idea. So along the lines of the background dancer colors that I was talking about, I'm thinking for the next little portion of Clue 1, where there's going to be some I-cord bumps, I think I'm going to be holding mohair with it. So it's going to be the light gray color that I'm using here. I think I might pair it with this kind of lavender purpley shade that I have of mohair. This I just grabbed from my stash. I used it in actually my first knitting pattern, my first knitting design, the mare sweater. This was the mohair that I used with that. So it's just a normal lace weight. Drops kid mohair is what this base is. So yeah, I think I might be holding those together. Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I like it and we'll go from there. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this pattern. It's very, very fun to knit on. So I will update you guys next week on Clue 2 and we'll see where I am with that next week. Oh, and I am storing all of this in the kit bag that came with the kit of yarn. Stephen sent all of these in with the kits, different colors of their bags, and it's just a really great bag. I'm really in love with it. It's a really great project bag. So that's a good little tote to have around. And so next, let's go into the Anne Boleyn cardigan. I have made some really big progress on this in the past couple weeks. So I'm so excited. I am really getting this thing done, really getting some good work on this done. So the past couple weeks I've been working on the right portion, the right panel of the Anne Boleyn cardigan. I've already done the back side, I've already done the left front panel, and then now I'm doing the right front panel. So I cast this section on 2 weeks ago. It's almost finished already. This is like super quick knitting for me. At least for this pattern, it's going really, really quickly. So look at that. Oh my gosh. I'll just give you, for reference, the back panel took me 4 months to knit. And then the left front panel took me like a month and a half to knit the whole thing. And then this right panel, it's been 2 weeks and I'm like almost done with it. So I've really been prioritizing this one and getting a lot of work done on this, so I think that's probably where it's coming from. And I'm also just feeling really, really comfortable with the pattern and with my gauge, and it's just like flying off the needles now. So it's really, really fun. So yeah, this is the right panel, pretty much identical to the left panel, except reverse. So this side with the bluer baubles, that's gonna be like over here. I know it looks like to you it's on my left, but this is my right. It's on your left, on my right. So yeah, we have the underarm shaping here, so it's gonna go like that. And then I'm still working up. It's worked bottom up, and then the center here. There's gonna be also a button band that I am going to, I'm guessing, pick up stitches and knit on afterwards. So yes, very cool. I am very happy with how quickly it's coming along. But I also have noticed something maybe not so good, maybe it's fine, I don't know. Since I've been working on this pattern for so long, my gauge has changed a little bit. I noticed that the back portion is a slight bit tighter of a gauge than the left portion, the left panel. And the left panel, the front left panel, sorry if this is getting confusing, the front left panel is slightly looser than the back, but it's also slightly tighter than the right side, which is what I'm working on right now. It's a very tiny difference. I can't even tell just looking at it, but I know, like, because I knit it, I know. You know what I mean? Like when you make it yourself, you know all the mistakes, even if you can't even see it. Not that it's really a mistake. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna rip back anything because it's not that big of a difference, and I'm hoping when I block everything I can kind of just block it out to kind of even out. So I think it'll be okay. But yeah, don't stress. That's what I'm telling myself. Don't stress about it. It's gonna be fine. So yes, I'm really happy that this is almost finished already. But then I also realized that I was silly and I did something on the left panel. I didn't knit the armhole long enough. I don't know why. I like wrote it down. I wrote down how long I needed to make it according to the pattern, but now after getting to the same spot in the right panel, I'm finding, oh, wait a second, they're not matching up, and it's because I didn't knit the left one long enough. How does that happen? Like, you're reading the pattern. Like, how does that happen? That you just, I don't know. Silly brain happens sometimes, so it'll be fine. So I am going to rip back. I'm going to have to rip back a little bit of this. So it's going to be just, I think, up until the collar shaping here. So the collar starts right here. So I think I'm just going to have to rip that out and make it a little bit longer. I think it's like an inch longer that I need to do it. And then finish it up again. And that'll be fine. It's not too much. Yeah, I didn't really notice it. I was trying it on my mannequin and I didn't really notice that it wasn't long enough, but it could definitely stand to be longer. So I think an inch will be fine, and I want to follow the pattern. I want to go to a T of what the pattern says, so I know it will work out okay. So yeah, I am really excited for this to be finished, and then all I will need to do is the arms and the button band and the collar. And I think that's it, and then it'll be done. That still sounds like a lot, but I'm very confident that I can get it done before the end of the year. My goal is to have this whole pattern finished before the end of the year because it is a part of our Tudor Roses knit along. This is the pattern that I am making for that knit along. And I don't know if I've said this. This is by Ella Starmore. This is a pattern by Ella Starmore. It's in her Tudor Roses book. Really, really beautiful patterns in the Tudor Roses book. If you have not heard of that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't want to bore the people that do know, but if you don't know what it is, then I have a link below to the book online. You can check out all the patterns in that book. Really, really beautiful. If you're wanting, if you're looking for a pattern that's very regal looking, very intricate and detailed, very classic, I would definitely recommend that book for you. I just love like every single one of the patterns in that book. It's so beautiful to me. Alice Stormer just did a wonderful job on those designs. So yes, I am having very much fun with this, and excited for this panel to be done and to keep chugging along and making progress. So that is all the knitting whips I have to share with you. And now let's get into some yarn acquisitions. I was able to go to a local to me yarn shop recently. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy I was able to. I had been having kind of a struggle trying to find local yarn shops around my area. I live in Los Angeles, but I don't know, there's not much of a knitting scene around here, and it is very big. You know, LA is really big, so if you want to get from one place to another, it's going to take a while. So yeah, this local yarn shop is like an hour or two away from me. So it's not like I can go there all the time, but it was a little treat and I wanted to see what they had. So the yarn shop is called House of Wool in Pasadena, and I went into this yarn shop. I don't need any more yarn. I don't have any projects specifically that I was looking for yarn to make that project. I kind of just wanted to see what they had and see if anything was calling out to me. And of course, how can you go in a yarn shop and not have anything call out to you? So they had a wall of yarn, and on that wall of yarn was a lot of Woolfolk yarn. Woolfolk is a brand of yarn that I had never been able to try before, but when I was in the store and you know, you're able to feel the yarn and really be able to see all the colors in person, it's beautiful. I had heard that Woolfolk is a beautiful yarn before from knitting podcasters and on Instagram and such, but I had never actually seen it in person or been able to feel it. And it's such beautiful yarn. I think all of their bases are just merino wool. It's non-superwash merino wool. Correct me if I'm wrong, they may have some other bases, maybe a mohair or something, but from what I had seen in the store, all of them were just beautiful merino wool. So I saw these and I just had to pick them up. They're so soft, oh my goodness. And it isn't a superwash, which was very surprising to me because of how soft they are. And it's only merino wool. I think that's the only makeup of this. Yes, okay, it's called Ovis 21 Ultimate Merino Wool. Fancy. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds fancy. So this color and this softness was just, I couldn't pass it up. It's really, really nice. Go feel some Woolfolk yarn if you are able to. If you have a local yarn shop near you that carries this yarn, I highly recommend it. It's really, really nice. I haven't knit with it yet. It is still on the skein, and this is my first time getting Woolfolk, but I can just tell that I'm probably going to like how it comes out, whatever I knit with this. So I was thinking in the shop when I was looking at yarn, I was thinking, okay, I want to have some idea of what I would do with this. So Taylor Owen, go check her out if you don't know her already. I've talked about her on this podcast before. She is a knitwear designer, also a knitting podcaster, and she put out a kind of a bralette pattern recently. A really beautiful cabled bralette with a lot of structure, like kind of hidden structure. I think it's really cool how she designed it. But I really love that pattern, and I've been wanting to cast it on, but I didn't have the yarn for it, so I figured, you know, get some yarn for that. And I think it's a DK weight that it calls for, so I was thinking, okay, I'll buy some DK weight. But I was so silly and I ended up getting fingering. So this is fingering, and I meant to get DK for the pattern. So I don't know if I'm just gonna use this and maybe hold it double, but then I don't know if I'll have enough. I'm not sure. So I want to still make that pattern, but we'll see. And then I also got another little ball of yarn while I was there. This was calling out to me. I thought it was so cute. Very much reminded me of spin cycle yarns. The way that it's produced, the way that the yarn works. I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those yarns that the color fades as you knit with it. So very similar to spin cycle. I think also Noro yarn does that. So this is called edition 3, and I think this is also just 100% merino wool. Yes, this is superwash merino wool. So I just saw this at the cash wrap and thought it was so cute. I have no idea what to do with this, but I really loved the colors, and I think the fade that will come out of this will be really beautiful. And then after purchasing these, I realized I actually like how they go together. I think that actually might be really cool if you kind of use these as like a base color and then this as maybe like color work or something with it, and it kind of fades along. So I think I might be doing a design with these. I don't know, we'll see. If I don't do a design, then maybe I'll find somebody who has a design that I think would go well with these colors, because I really want to test this out and see what it'll look like. Because these are both fingering weight, so they would go together. So yeah, that was really, really fun to be able to pick these up. It was such a fun little jaunt to the local yarn shop. And with that, that is everything I have to share with you all today. Thank you so, so much again for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe to this channel. It really means a lot to me. It really helps grow the channel and makes it so that we can get more people involved in this community. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.